Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dan Blanchard with the Travel in Time with Dan show, where we mix travel with history and with leadership. And today we're in Manchester, New Hampshire at General John Stark's house. This is the guy that said, "Live free or die," which is the New Hampshire state motto. As you can see right here, I'm kind of just showing you a real quick point of view of what's in this area. And if we go back a couple hundred years, this house right here, John Stark's house that he grew up in, was the only house here. All this other land over here was 800 acres of farmland. And you can see how different this is today in 2025, all built up today. Okay, so General Stark was an amazing general and that he was really, really good at his job. George Washington really liked him. And he lived to be 93 years old, which is the longest living revolutionary general of all. All right. He did say, "Live free or die," and I'll go more into those details in a little bit. Let's go back a little bit before that. Okay. There was a really cool thing about him being competent, obviously, which I told you he's really good at what he does, but he's also super brave, right? When he was young, he was out hunting with his brother, and he gets captured by an Indian tribe, and they make him run the gauntlet. But he does something that nobody's expected. Instead of running the gauntlet, what he does is he goes right at the first Indian, or Native American, or indigenous, whatever you want to call them, and he grabs the club out of his hand, and he starts beating the Native American with the club. And the chief is so inspired and so impressed with John Stark's bravery that he says, "Hey, I'm going to adopt you into our tribe. You're like one of us now. You're like a real warrior." And that's pretty cool, right? So later on, he does fight in the French and Indian War, like for the English, right? Although he won't fight his adopted Indian tribe. He leaves and won't try to do that. But he learns a lot about how to fight like an Indian. And this is going to help him a lot when he fights for the colonists against the against the English, where he uses like the Native Americans' tactics of like the guerrilla warfare, the hit and run, all that sorts of stuff. He's part of Rogers Rangers, which means he can really shoot very, very well, which is kind of cool. And he's pretty much in like almost all of the really important American Revolutionary battles. It's kind of funny that a lot of people don't really know his name so much outside of New Hampshire, but he was at like Bunker Hill. He was at the big Trenton battle victory, where George Washington goes across to Delaware, Christmas, takes on the Hessians and all that. Princeton. He's the hero of Bennington, which is like really tied in with the Saratoga, when the French saw that we could win and they jump in the war. So it's a big, big deal that he's the hero of Bennington. And, and later on, in 1809, he's pretty much an older man now. And there's actually a reunion for all the soldiers that were in Bennington that helped turn the tide of the war. And he couldn't go, unfortunately. He got invited to this 1809 reunion. He couldn't go. So he sends a letter to his men. His men loved him, right? So he sends a letter to his men. And in the letter, it's like a toaster that they're supposed to read it. He says, "Live free or die. Death is not the worst of all evils." And that just sticks. I mean, are you going to live on your knees to the British, right? Or are you going to live like a man as an American colonist, right? And he picked to live like a man as an American colonist. He was really good at what he did, super brave. His men loved him. He was a great leader. And I guess that's a natural transition right into the leadership. So, I like to talk about leadership when I do this with travel, history, leadership. So what leadership does General John Stark bring to this? Well, obviously, I've mentioned it a couple times, competence. He was very, very good at his job, right? And of course, bravery. I've mentioned that too, right? Confidence and bravery. And what did that get him? A whole bunch of things are named after him around here. He's like really famous around here. And New Hampshire has this huge General Stark monument. It looks like the Washington Monument that George Washington has in Washington, D.C. The really, really big obelisk. The difference is George Washington's monument is in Washington, D.C., and it's that really, really, really tall white obelisk like no other building is like taller than that in Washington, D.C. Well, here, what would be considered more of a wooded area in New Hampshire, John Stark has the same sort of thing, except his really, really tall obelisk, no other building taller, is like a brownish color, kind of like mixing with like New Hampshire, which I think is very appropriate. So I guess if you're really, really competent and really, really brave, and you're friends with George Washington, and he really likes you and respects you, and he chooses you to lead his flank at Trenton over more senior generals, and that's what he did. I mean, more senior generals were passed over, so Stark could lead George Washington's flank at the Trenton battle. Then maybe get yourself a nice big monument like George Washington when you do that. All right, everybody, I really appreciate you being here with me on the Travel on Time with Dan show, where we mix travel with history and with leadership. Not quite sure where I'm going to be next, but you know, wherever it is, it's going to be really good. Thank you, and take care, and we'll see you real soon. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. All right, take care.